Welcome to Brilliant Minds Unlocked. Today, we are deep diving into the life of an absolutely extraordinary figure, Emil Zátopek. His name is just synonymous with pain, with speed, and really the sheer force of human will.
It is. His life story is, well, it's less a simple biography and more of a masterclass.
A masterclass in what, though?
In resilience and in the relentless, almost obsessive pursuit of self-imposed limits.
Right. And that's really our mission with this deep dive, isn't it? We're going to synthesize the sources we have to, pull out those nuggets of knowledge.
Exactly. We want to understand what allowed him to run past the point where basically everyone else would have collapsed. It's about transformation, struggle, and that indomitable spirit he just embodied.
Absolutely. Because Zatopek didn't just win races. He completely redefined what was physically possible in long-distance running.
And scientifically possible, too. But the real lesson, the thing that makes his story so enduring, is how he navigated just monumental adversity, both on the track with that famous brutal style.
Oh, that style. We have to talk about that.
And then, crucially, later in his life, when he was up against political oppression.
So let's unpack this. Let's start from the very beginning, the forging of this impossible athlete. He was born in 1922 in Moravia, what was then Czechoslovakia.
Right, and into very humble circumstances. He wasn't some prodigy groomed from birth. He was a factory worker.
He worked in a shoe factory, which doesn't exactly scream future Olympic demigod.
Not at all. And what's so fascinating is there was zero initial ambition for running. For him, the track wasn't a calling.
It started as, what, a duty?
A duty, exactly. It was imposed on him. His factory superiors basically mandated that all the employees had to run in a local 1,500-meter race.
And he was terrified of it. There's this great, very human anecdote about him trying to get out of it.
Yeah, he felt completely unprepared. So he hid?
He hid in a library, clutching a chemistry book, just hoping the whole thing would blow over.
Wow. It's such a perfect image, isn't it? That resistance we all feel to a challenge we don't think we're ready for. He literally tried to retreat into the intellectual.
But he couldn't escape. They made him run. And once he was on that track, everything changed. That first taste of pushing his own limits, it just ignited something in him.
A burning passion, an obsession, really.
And once that passion was lit, he developed a running style that was, well, unique is putting it mildly.
Oh, it was a spectacle. The sources all describe it as this visible fight.
It's contorted agony. That's the phrase you see everywhere. A grimace of suffering, his head rocking back and forth, arms swinging wildly.
He ran not with elegance, but with just raw, desperate determination, like a man clawing his way to the finish line. It looked painful.
Because it was painful. He was pushing right to the very edge of what a human body could tolerate.
And that pain wasn't an accident. It was core to his philosophy. He had this incredible quote about it. He said, "Pain is merciful because when it's continuous, it dulls."
Think about that. He's saying that once the agony becomes constant, it stops being a distraction. It becomes background noise.
He reframed suffering as a mental advantage, a dullness that let him push past the point where everyone else's pain is screaming at them to stop.
He was a master of discomfort. And that mastery, that philosophy, it led him directly to the Helsinki Olympics in 1952.
Ah, Helsinki. If there's one chapter that just defines sporting impossibility, this is it.
It's legendary. He arrived already as a champion, right?
A formidable one. He'd already won gold in the 5,000 meters. Then he followed that up with gold in the 10,000 meters.
Setting Olympic records in both.
In both. But he wasn't done. He was still hungry.
And this is where the sheer audacity of the man just kicks in. He makes this just unprecedented decision to also enter the marathon.
And you have to stop and really let this sink in. He had never, ever run a competitive marathon before in his life.
It's unbelievable. He'd never tested his body over that grueling 42.2 kilometers, and he decides to do it for the first time.
At the Olympics. After already running 2 gold medal races, the courage it takes to step into that kind of unknown on that stage, it's just astounding.
So the race starts, and midway through, he's running alongside the favorite, a British runner named Jim Peters.
Peters was the man to beat. He was expected to dominate.
And this is where Zatopek's psychology, his mindset, just comes into full view. Instead of just gritting it out, he turns to Peters.
And he asks him that famous, almost mischievous question.
Isn't the pace a bit too slow?
I mean, can you imagine?
It's a psychological bomb. He's not just running. He's playing a mind game in the middle of the most grueling race imaginable.
And it worked. Peters, probably thinking Zatopek was just cruising, pushed too hard, too early. He ended up collapsing later on.
And Zatopek, he just kept going, He dominated. He won his third gold medal and set another Olympic record.
That triple gold. The 5K, the 10K, and the marathon. It's a feat that has never been matched at a single Games.
It really goes beyond just athletics. It's about strategic daring, mental warfare. But what did this mean for the future of sports? I mean, his legacy is so much more than just the medals.
Oh, absolutely. Beyond the glory, his achievement sparked a revolution in how athletes train.
He pioneered interval training.
He did. Today, it's a cornerstone of fitness for everyone, from pro athletes to people at the local gym. But back then,
It was seen as madness. Our sources say it was dismissed as just complete madness.
you have to remember the context. In the 1950s, the thinking was all about long, slow distance. You just put in the miles, build endurance slowly. Zatopek did the exact opposite.
His method was brutal. It was these intense, maximal effort repeats, running 400-meter sprints again and again and again.
Yeah, sometimes in heavy army boots with very short rest periods. He would do dozens, maybe up to 60 or even 100 repeats in a single session.
So he was basically teaching his body to handle that feeling of oxygen debt, that lactic acid burn over and over.
Exactly. He proved that to run fast, you have to train fast. It was all based on his own relentless self-experimentation. He changed not only how athletes trained, but more importantly, he changed what they believed their bodies could handle.
That willingness to suffer in training, to look like he was in agony, that was his true scientific legacy. He taught the world how to run faster.
But his life was about to be defined by a much different kind of race.
The cruelest race. The ones that took place far from any stadium, long after the glory had faded.
The adversity he faced off the track was, I would argue, far more demanding than any marathon he ever ran.
He was a national hero in Czechoslovakia, a darling of the communist state. But he had a very strong moral conviction.
And that conviction was put to the ultimate test in 1968 during the Prague Spring.
Right. This was that brief period of political liberalization, of democratic reforms.
Yeah.
And Zatopek supported it, publicly and very vocally.
And then the Soviet tanks rolled in to crush the movement. Because of his public support for those ideals, Zatopek immediately became an enemy of the state.
The punishment was swift, and it was severe. He refused to recant his support, and so they systematically dismantled his life.
They stripped him of his military rank, they expelled him from the Communist Party, they publicly humiliated him.
This global icon, this triple Olympic champion, was forced into the most menial, back-breaking jobs.
The sources mention him working on geological survey teams in harsh conditions, and even on sanitation crews.
Collecting garbage.
The cost of his conviction was everything he had achieved. His status, his comfort, his legacy.
And yet, through all that obscurity and hardship, he kept his grace. He kept his famous generosity he never broke.
Which gives us a lesson that goes so far beyond sports. What does it really mean to stand by your values when the prices are?
Well, when the price is everything. His resilience wasn't just physical. It was a deep, profound moral integrity.
And this brings us back to the core challenge of this whole deep dive, doesn't it? Zatopek's life really asks us to redefine what adversity is. It's not a wall.
It's a gateway, a necessary gateway to greatness and to integrity. He even gave us the language for it. He talked about that moment in a race or in any great struggle when fatigue just takes over.
When the doubts start to cloud your mind, he said you are standing at the border of pain and suffering where men are separated from the boys. And his argument was that you shouldn't fear that place. He called it a sacred space where the impossible becomes possible.
It's the moment where your effort stops being just a physical act and becomes a moral choice.
And that's the choice he puts before you, before all of us. Will you choose comfort? Or will you do what he did? Will you run into the storm, arms swinging, face contorted, but entirely alive?
His whole life, from that first hesitant race to his courageous political stand, it just echoes this one core belief.
The limits we accept are the only ones that matter. He showed that by consistently pushing past those limits, physical or moral, you define who you are.
He ran for so much more than battles. He ran for principle, for friendship, for the sheer joy of seeing what he was capable of.
And we can all take that lesson. We can apply it to whatever our personal struggles are. We have to identify our own interval training, those necessary bursts of hard effort.
And learn how to maintain our grace when that effort leads to hardship, not just glory.
So here's the final thought he leaves us with. It's a profound statement that really challenges our own efforts. Every single day, he said. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift.
So the question to ask yourself today is, what gift of effort will you offer the world?